the Mantis and the cricket.
There's one thing about the 49 side, everybody did what they were asked to do.
I think we made about £17,000 on that tour when, at the time we left, there would have been no money in the bank.
Coupons for butter and meat and sugar.
From the end of World War II, and the task of rebuilding England and Europe had begun, but by no means had they restored the devastation. The Iron Curtain was at its peak, and the Cold War had raised fears and anxieties and mistrust. Now, for Walter Hadley, the captain, and Jack Phillips, the manager, there were no such doubts. In 1949, they led the 4th touring team into England, armed with precise, detailed plans of putting New Zealand cricket on the map. At the very same time, ironically, that the British Empire was dissolving. Now, historians refer to this era as the age of austerity. Continual shortages of fuel and food, clothing and accommodation. Life was simple, direct, severe, and in many cases restrictive. And so the public turned their gaze and their attention onto sport for respite from their daily labours, for enjoyment and escape. And that in part explains the record crowds at county matches during this tour. Now for New Zealand, little New Zealand, amateurs against the pros, 1949 was like the weather, a glorious summer.
There's one thing about the 49 side, everybody more or less did what they were asked to do. Or, you know, everyone had a turn. You know, like, you know, the old saying, every dog has his day. Well, somewhere along the line in that tour, there was always someone that shone who hadn't shone before.
They were more successful. See, they were a very successful team, as we know. They really, I mean, they put New Zealand, to use the old cliche, they put New Zealand on the map in cricket, but people had to sit up and take notice of them because they did so well.
The companionship that we had, there were older guys and younger guys, and we all got on well. We all treated they all treated the youngster not like a beginner, which I was, very much was, for a start. I was part of the side, included in everything, and we just had such a wonderful group of people. We were together for 8 months, a month going there on a boat, 5 weeks, and a month coming back via the Panama Canal, and 6 months playing cricket, 2 matches that week, and quite often a game on the Sunday, charity game for someone. There'd be a charity game for one or the other, and Wal would ask one of us to play, you know, just to do a PR for them. No, it's a wonderful association of cricket, of sporting people, you know, as I said a long time ago, I learnt my cricket law there and how the spirit of cricket should be upheld, and just a wonderful experience.
Well, if you just looked at the financial side alone, leaving out any other aspect, it was a real benefit and boost to New Zealand cricket. I think we made about £17,000 on that tour when, at the time we left, there would have been no money in the bank. I think the main asset of New Zealand cricket was a stock of T.W. Rees's Cricket History of New Zealand. Well, there was virtually no cash about. But from the 49 tour, we had a fund which we could use to offer to bring touring sides here if we had to put up any money. Well, there was always something available.
You're a selector of the team. You and
Wally, Jack Kerr.
And Jack Kerr.
We worked as a team of selectors to get what we considered it was the best team that we could muster.
We didn't want another Tom Pritchard, no, we didn't want to miss it. Well, it actually got to the stage that probably a lot of people thought we didn't, because everybody was reckoned that Arthur Creswell should have gone in 1949, and not Fen Creswell as we picked. But Fen was a different type of bowler. You know, he could, you know, just under medium pace, you know, and duck the ball around a lot. So that's how he got the nod. And of course then we were a bit unfortunate really, because in 49 that we lost Johnny Hayes early in the piece, you know, with an injury. And you know,
What place would he have taken though?
Brunsmith's.
Right.
And what actually happened there was that in the game I think one of the last games of the Plunket Shield series, and the side was going to be picked anyway, Don dropped Brun Smith, I think, before he'd scored, and Brun got 100, and that sort of buggered it, because Don was a very good, he was a good bat. Could bowl off spinners, could bowl leg spinners, but like everything else, you know, someone's got to be unlucky.
Autograph hunters do well.
Yeah, yeah, the steak stayed as well. Yeah.
Yes, to have your steak and eat it. A rare injection of protein or a taste from home. But what are the...
Look and listen and to learn, and I was hoping to learn from some of the pros, because we were playing all the pros in the county matches, played two, as I say, 2 a week, and you're meeting all these guys, but they wouldn't talk to you. You know, they'd come along dressed in their whites and their slippers on, go and play their game of cricket, take their boots off, put their slippers on, go and have a pint and go home. We were having a shower all this time, and we'd be in the dressing room having a shower and getting changed, coming to the bar, and we're there by ourselves. I wanted to learn about cricket from the likes of the pros over there, you know, Len Hutton and Bill Edrich and Dennis Compton. I met all those guys, sure, never taught cricket to any of them.
And the other thing is, which worried me a little bit early in the piece, well, before the tour, was the fact that, in remembering 37, now how are we going to get on with the crowds? Now, 48, that great Aussie side, there,
How do you follow up?
how are we going to do against this? And then people say, well, they were in 1937, those still were there to see it. But anyway, it's incredible. We had crowds at the last day. As a matter of fact, in one ground we were going to, and I said to the joker that was driving the cars, where the hell are all the people? Where are they going? They're going to the cricket. No. Yeah, you know, we had sort of first day crowds at third day crowds, you know. And the thing that, I know it sounds silly today, it's only what we've talked about, but we used to go out early in the morning, if before play started, 10 minutes or so, we'd already been out fielding and that. We'd go out on the main thing and throw the ball around. And do you know, the bloody crowd used to love it. Love it.
We didn't think it'd be that big, but it was massive. The crowds given to the 49 side, not only in the tests, but even in the 3-day games,
A combination of brilliant weather and the
they
popularity
were
of New Zealand
monumental.
brought huge crowds
And they all,
to see the second test.
If we were losing money all the time, well, would we send another team to England? So it was important that we did well for all the players coming on.
Right.
Like we did. We looked forward to them. One day, I hope I can get a New Zealand side, because going back in those days, your chance of getting to England was very minute.
That was a very important establishing tour.
I think that's the right word, Jeremy, yeah. I think establishing tour. But then, and we got them going, you know, we got some youngsters in there and some oldies, and they melded well together as a team. And that's Wal Hadley, Merv Wallace, Martin Donnelly, and Jack Cowie. I think they were the strength of that side. And Bert Sucker was also a youngster. You know, he wasn't an old guy. He was 24 or something when that trip was on. So he wasn't one of the established players when he went to England, but he was when he came back. So no, we just developed as the tour went on, played well, and got some pride in playing for New Zealand.
So now they were poised for the serious business of carving out some history. Ahead of them lay 32 first-class matches and thousands of miles of train journeys from which they would step off and meet strong opposition bent upon reversing the defeat against Bradman's Australians in the previous season. If they cast an eye backwards, the English could be forgiven for thinking that 1949 was a timely morale booster for their cricket. 8 months continual cricket with no recourse to sending home an injured player and getting a new one on the next flight. In today's hit and run terms, it equates to about a home season and 2 overseas tours. Little wonder that the friendships formed on this tour were so strong. Now, as John Reid just described, an establishing tour, in the same way that I must establish with you an open and unashamed demand. No, a solicitation of your presence for the succeeding narratives of the Mantis and the Cricket. Tales from the Tours.